What's up, everyone? Welcome to another episode of the BBL Show. I'm your host, Tony Camper. I'm here with my co-host, Larry Carter.
Hey, everybody.
All right, and this is good. This is part 2 of our interview with two-time world champion, USS Steve Cunningham. What's up, brother?
What up? What is up?
All right, so last time we had some technical difficulties. We lost Steve after about maybe 15 minutes or so. So I'll just kind of briefly touch on the things we talked about last time, and then we'll move on for you guys who saw last time. So, all right, Steve. So we'll just jump right into it, man.
Cool.
You were on at Veterans Day, and you being a vet, you were in the Navy, right?
Yeah, U.S. Navy.
U.S. Navy, sir. All right. We talked about you being on the boat. People getting sucked into planes. You name it. How long were you in the Navy for?
4 years.
4 years, okay. We appreciate your service, sir. Coming from an airman to a seaman. All right, y'all got all kinds of names in the Navy, though. You got airmen too, right?
Yeah, airman, squid, all kind of names.
That's funny. What were you?
No, I mean squid was like the byword that the Marines called us. You know, called us squids and swabbies. You know, deck boys.
That's funny.
Kind of little nicknames.
All right, so then you went from the Navy and you were boxing, and you went to a tournament, right? And you said you beat the Navy heavyweight champion your first fight.
Yeah, beat him. Immediately was given application to join the Navy boxing team, and once I got on the team, you know, we were stationed in Port Hueneme out in California, CB base, and for the Armed Forces tournament, got a silver medal in that. The lost to the Army guy who was like number 1 or number 2 in the world actually, and she went on to the next tournament. Won the National Golden Gloves in 1998, and that sent me on my way.
Golden Gloves. That's a big deal. Now, how was that experience as far as transitioning from boxing in the Navy to actually, nationwide Golden Gloves?
It was great because it was what I wanted. You know, it was like that's what I wanted. You know, I wanted to get there. I wanted to get to the nationals, and put myself up against these guys. I'm gonna get here and fight my butt off. I believe I can win, and man, we got out there and we won. So it was bananas, man. I felt like jumping in the ocean or something right after that victory.
Now let me ask you something. When you were in the Navy, could you see yourself turning pro and doing what you did, or did it just kind of come to you and you kind of followed that path and steered off?
Me and my wife, we kind of always joke because we look at the old pictures. I mean, we started at a real low, not even, I would say modest, I say under modest level of boxing. I'm fighting 100 hours a round in shows at, in South Carolina and North Carolina, Virginia. So you fight a 4-rounder, you get $400 for that fight. But even at that level, we never thought we wouldn't be world champion, So, coming from that, and not a lot of guys do it from that level, So coming in from that level, we always felt we would be champion. I couldn't see myself no other way. I don't think I would have done it if I didn't think I could be world champion,
So you had the vision and you went after it, man. That's what's up.
Yeah.
All right, so after Golden Gloves, you turned pro. Now, was that a hard transition from going Navy and amateurs to becoming a professional prize fighter?
No, it wasn't, because at the time, that was in '98. I got out of the Navy, had to get a job and work and train. So I turned pro in 2000. So I still had 2 more years of amateur fighting, trying to make the Olympics. I came up short. I beat the guy who went to the Olympics in that National Golden Gloves tournament. But the next time we met, he beat me, so he went. But once I got out, man, I had to get a job. And when I turned pro in 2000, it was an extra force behind me, because it's like, man, I can make money at it. I need to make money. This is my job. And it wasn't a bad transition, because, you know, you're taking the headgear off. You can see more. You know, you're going less rounds. I mean, you're still going about the same amount of rounds, 4 rounds, you know, in the beginning, and you're making a little money. So I made $1,000 my first pro fight. But that's because they called me in literally 6 hours on 6 hours notice. And but I was always in shape, so we took the fight and went down there and surprised them. You know, beat their hometown guy and took that money, went to Walmart.
I remember you saying that you went on a shopping spree, got that grand. We'll talk a little bit about you always being in shape, because that's a big reason we got you on the show as well. You know, this is a health and fitness based podcast, so and you're one of the most fit fighters in the game as far as aesthetically, and you got muscle, all that good stuff. So all right, so first fight, went in there 6 hours notice, knocked the dude out, did your thing, went to Walmart. Pretty much in a nutshell.
No, that's it.
Now, you're from Philadelphia, right?
Yeah.
And Philadelphia has a rich boxing history.
Yep.
You know, great fighters like Smoking Joe Frazier, my personal favorite fighter, Bernard Hopkins, the Executioner.
Yeah.
Now, being from Philly, how do you think that helped mold your boxing style?
I mean, it helps because, you know, Philly has a name. Philly already has a name. If you're a Philly fighter, they know they're in trouble. You know, they know it's not an easy night, even if they're calling you on short notice, even if they know they can beat you, you know, or this guy's record doesn't look good. They know they're in for some heat. So, and growing up watching Frazier and B-Hop, it's like you steal from their styles, you know, you steal from them, you know. But then there's that category X that you don't even account for, which is heart, you know. And for some reason, you know, Philly fighters, we have heart out of this world, and I guess it's because we're trying to get out of that situation we're in. You know, Philly's a hard city, man. It's rough, and we come up in the hood with basically nothing, and it's like, I don't want to go back. I know that was one thing that drove me, because it's like, man, I had a career. I could have stayed in the Navy, you know, did, you know, 16 to 18, 20 years in the Navy and retired, you know, at a young age. But it's like I left it, and now I'm doing this. I'm like, this has to work, you know, or I got to make it work, you know, and that's basically what drove me. Okay.
Yeah. Philly fighters are definitely known for their heart, their grit. You know, you guys are tough. A lot of these guys, you know, they go in there and, you know, they might get knocked on their ass or, you know, beat up for 11 rounds and then come in on the 12th and put somebody on their ass, you know. So, you know, Philly's got a rich boxing history. Now, you started off, you went from making $1,000 paycheck to kind of making a name for yourself. Now, how was that as far as, was it really hard to do at the beginning, or did you get a lot of good opportunities that kind of helped you transition to the top?
I mean, you know, at that time, I didn't really know the business. I thought it was just, you know, because I can fight, I was a national champ as an amateur, you know, I've got potential. I was in the Navy, and this was around 9/11. So I felt that, you know, well, this is right before 9/11, but still, with all, you know, with all the ability, I came into the sport thinking, hey, my drive and my hard work and my skill level is going to give me those eyes that I need and bring those big paydays and this and that. And found out that that's not the way boxing works. You know, it's a different game, man. It's a stone cold business. And so I went from, you know, I made that $1,000 from that first fight just for being the opponent. Then I got with a local promoter down in Virginia, and, you know, we had shows in South Carolina, but it was only $100 a round, $400. I fought 6 rounds a couple times, so I made $600. Then my manager at the time took me to Don King. So within a year, I went from 2-0 to 11-0. And, you know, we were rolling once a month, man, or twice a month at one time. And took me to Don King, undefeated 11-0 cruiserweight. And, you know, that's when it got really crazy.
For you guys
don't
know who Don King is, he's one of the biggest name promoters in the game. He promoted guys like Muhammad Ali, Mike Tyson, guys like that. So he put you to work, huh? You said you were fighting every couple months, which isn't common. I mean, it happens, but typically.
Yeah, in the beginning when we were with a smaller promoter, I fought once a month because they had shows once or twice a month. So when I got with Don, it significantly slowed down. You know, it went from once a month to twice a year, maybe. You know, but at that level, it was a higher level, more pay. You know, I started off, my first fight with Don was $5,000. So I went from $600 to $5,000 in about 7 months, which was great, but still that's not no money. But then back then, $5,000 for a fight, I thought I was rich. So
you went from Walmart to Target after that, huh?
Yeah, exactly. So then we got, you know, but when I got with Don, I was fighting once a year, twice a year, maybe, but those fights were key fights to position me.
Strategic.
You know, not in the rankings, but not that he set it up that way. Now Don King is basically like, you fight for me, I'm gonna throw you in there, only the best gonna come out. That's basically the way it was. There was no, this is our plan, we're gonna do this. It was, hey, Cunningham, you fighting the number 7. Like I went to South Africa to spar with Virgil Hill. And
one of the big names.
I mean, not to spar with Virgil Hill. It's Jean-Marc Mormon, former Cruiserweight Champion. He was fighting Virgil Hill. And I got a call 3 weeks, and we were there for 4 weeks. The first week, I got a call, and they were like, "Hey, you want to fight this guy from South Africa? You know, he's number 7 in the world. He just lost his world title, the IBO or something." And I'm like, "Hey, more money? You know, I get to get this sparring money. I'm getting good sparring. I get to get this money, this fight money. You know, get the ranking." I was like, "Cool." So I really turned it up and ended up beating him. He was, which made me number 7 in the world. Then my next fight was, you know, another guy who was stopping undefeated fighters. I stopped him. Then I fought, Guillermo Jones, Kelvin Davis. You know, the list goes on. The resume. My resume is really outstanding. You know, it's because of Don. You know, he just throw you in there heavy every time. There was no build up stage with Don. So then that got me to my world title shots.
So you got with Don King, and you started. You had to step your game up. You were fighting big names. You were taking it to the next level, basically.
Yeah, no doubt. But yep.
Now your first title shot. Let me see if I spell this or say this right. Vladache.
Yeah, Krzysztof Lodarczyk.
Every time I see his name, I read it. I wouldn't think it was Vladache.
It's low.
All right,
it's so like low darts.
At the time, he was the Cruiserweight Champion, right? And
no, at the time, what had happened was ONeill Bell was the Cruiserweight Champion, unified, and I sparred with ONeill Bell as an amateur in Atlanta a lot.
Okay.
Because we went to the same, and he came up and became a good pro. I came up, you know, I was an amateur sparring him. So when we met, when I beat Kelvin Davis for the #1 spot, and he beat Jean-Marc Mormon, he had the IBF, and I knew I had to fight him. I was excited because I'm like, man, I can beat this guy. I'm much better than what I was, and I was beating him then. So he basically didn't want to fight for whatever reason. It could have been money. I know he wasn't a guy to be scared or nothing. So could have been the money. Could have been, well, I don't want to lose to Cunningham or whatever. But so, you know, we had a big little verbal thing going on at the press conference. But he ended up vacating the title, which had me at #1 and Krzysztof Lodarczyk at #3. And, you know, he's Polish, purse bid. And when you do the purse bid, that means the promoters basically put money up to see who wants to hold the fight. And, of course, Don King really didn't care about Steve Cunningham. You know, Don King didn't see any thing. He didn't have anything vested in Steve Cunningham. So it was basically, you're going to let your #1 contender with a title shot go to Poland. And we know that in Europe, they do whatever to get the belt. So That's basically what happened.
A lot of home cooking out there. And yeah, Don King has a bad reputation as far as that goes, so no surprise there. So basically you had to cross the ocean and go to Poland to fight this guy for the belt.
Yeah, so it was a vacant title, and you know, there were just so many things that they did wrong on purpose. Like there was supposed to be no Polish or German judge. When we got there was a Polish and German judge. You know, the gloves, they switched gloves on me. I couldn't, you know, a fighter has his preferences, and I liked Grant gloves. I had a sponsorship deal with Grant at the time, and they gave me Everlast. I mean, these Everlast gloves they gave me, they were the smallest gloves I ever saw in my life. Like, and they said they were 10 ounces. They had to be at least 8 ounces. And it was just crazy.
The puncher, right?
Yeah. Yeah, because he was a puncher. So they would, you know, and as soon as I put the gloves on, I knew what they were trying to do. But it's a home cooked thing. They were trying to help their guy win as best they could. So we fought. There was an American judge, Polish judge, and German judge. The American judge had me winning 11 of the 12 rounds. Polish and German judge gave him 7 and 8 rounds, you know, stuff like that. So he won the vacant title. We ended up getting kicked out of the stadium because we were there for so long. You know, we were waiting to get the drug test. So IBF rules state after each championship fight, you have to do your analysis. They never gave us the urinalysis, and they never gave Christoph the urinalysis. So my manager was like, "Shh, be quiet. You know, we're going to get a rematch for this." And we could have got a rematch for all the other stuff that they did too, but this was the most easiest one. And we went for that, got the immediate rematch. And I told them at the press conference, "You guys created a monster." Because that made me see fighting overseas and fighting for world titles, you have to step it up even more than what you thought. So went back over there in the rematch and really trashed him and got the title, you know, because this time, and we believe he was on something at the time, you know what I mean? But when we went back that second time, everybody's demeanor was different, you know, even his physique looked different. So we believe that because the eyes was on that rematch, you know, even the president of the IBF, she traveled to Poland to make sure everything was on the up and up. And I beat this dude, beat him, and got the belt.
So that was first time world champion, Steve Cunningham. Now, how is that feeling, especially doing it in someone's backyard?
It was, you know, it was bananas, man, because like you said, you don't see a lot of American fighters winning world titles overseas. You know, and in Europe and Poland, and to do that, and then actually to do it, going through all the stuff that I went through to get the rematch, just proved that I should have won the first fight. And I just broke down in tears in the ring when they announced it. It was, oh man, when I look at that replay, even the day me and my wife, we get tears in our eyes, man, because it meant so much to our family, you know. So it was just beautiful.
Nice. Now. From that point on, how did your career change? How did your life change when you go from contender to world champion and in the fashion that you did it?
Well, I mean, I'm gonna tell you guys something, man. I mean, and I can't wait to do the book, but our life, it really, I mean, it changed, no doubt. It changed on the status side. Oh, Steve Cunningham's a world champion. You know, now I had to defend my title, but it's like, that I won that title in May of 06, and we made, and I'll tell you guys everything, man. We made $115,000 for that fight. That was the purse bid that we got. Now, you have to pay taxes overseas before you even get your check. Yeah, before you even get your check, you have to pay that country's taxes on that amount. So that's basically that left us with $90,000. So then from there, I had to pay my manager, who was my trainer, and Don King got 20-something% because of the purse bid, because it was a purse bid and he didn't win it. You know, that's contractual. So these fights right here, this fight really restructured the way I did boxing business, because at the end of the day, I came home with the same amount Don King came home with, and my manager. It's ridiculous. You know,
you're the one taking blows and all that.
Yeah, exactly. So I ended up home with 29,000. Actually, I think Don got more than everybody. Don came with 30. I came, and my manager had about 28. So my manager at the time, who was getting 25% and 10% for training, he's basically getting 35%.
Mm-hmm.
And hold up, like, whoa, because but the fight before that, I made $10,000. I went from 10,000 to 115, but then come home with 30, you know, and it was like, whoa, this ain't right. So I ended up switching up my whole team. You know, I fired my manager, made my wife my manager, because we've been in the business learning, and I knew Chris Bird and his wife, who've been in the business. She was his manager. She was like, man, y'all can save that 20%, 30%. Your wife can do it. Just get a lawyer. We got a good lawyer. And that changed everything for me. So my next fight, which was about that was made in December, was my next fight. Was going, and Don King sending me back to Europe. I'm going to Germany now. You know, to fight
Huck.
Yeah, undefeated 21-year-old Marco Huck, who's beating the crap out of everybody.
Yeah, people were scared of this guy. And
yeah.
Steve Cunningham, he was playing the road warrior, went back into somebody's backyard, and I'll let you tell it, man. What'd you do to that kid?
Man, stopped him in the 12th round, man. It was and that right there is to this day our best and most favorite fight, because of, you know, all of the boxing writers in America wrote us off. Don King basically sent us over to the Wolves, to the Lions Den. Didn't think we were going to win. Then we get there, everything's for him. You know, it's all the Marco Huck show, which, you know, because they won the purse bid. It was in his hometown where he grew up in Germany. You know, literally in that city, and it was just all for him. And he was a dick. You know, he's like a spoiled brat or something. So I just went in there. I said, hey, if I'm going to lose my belt, it's going to be the hardest fight in his life. And I drug him through the mud, beat his body down because he was strong, beat his body down, and got him out of there in the 12th round, man. And
yeah, this is him, top left on the picture you see. So let me see. Hold on. All right, so you went in there, whooped him up. Did you think if you hadn't stopped him, they would have robbed you again?
Well, after the fight, we went to the scorecards, because that, you know, since that first trip to Poland, we always say they always got a judge. They always got two of the judges in the pocket, you know. So we checked the scorecard, and of course, one of the judges had it real close. I mean, like almost a draw.
Yeah.
And another judge gave him the fight, but the other judge had me winning. And I was like, well, see, good thing we stopped him this time, because that's a lot of money. It's a lot of money involved, man, over there. You know, I mean, a bunch of money for the cruiserweight division. So did
you see a big difference once you cleaned house and changed your team from the previous fight to this fight, as far as what you were able to pocket and not having everyone in your pockets?
Oh yeah, no doubt. I mean, and this fight was about double. That fight was like 250. You know, but we still, you know, we paid the taxes, and I mean, I came home with you know, significant amount of money at that time. So it was cool, man. It was great. I mean, and to have my wife as my manager, most of the things that my old manager allowed to slide, we didn't let. You know, it was just a great situation overall.
She had your back. That's what's up.
And that's the thing, man. You need a manager that's going to have your back. Period.
They're supposed to be your representative and look out for you. So, and a lot of managers, not a lot, but there's a good deal of managers looking out for themselves. So,
oh yeah, no doubt.
Smart move on your part. All right, so you mentioned you've had a lot of big fights during your career. Very decorated. We talked about you being robbed against Hachi. You've been robbed a couple times during your career. That wasn't the first. I believe, what was it? The next time around was against Adamek.
Yep.
And I can't remember if that was actually in his hometown or what, that fight. No,
that second fight, that rematch, me and Adamek, that was in Jersey, right? Pennsylvania. That was in my state, and
okay.
They got me. But you know, the promoter, I was with Kathy Duva, and that opened our eyes to Kathy Duva basically, you know, being for the European fighter, because she had Glasgow, she had Adamek, Kovalev, you know, so she's all about the
her fighters too.
Say that again.
These were her fighters too.
Yeah, yeah. So when I fought Adamic, you know, he was a Kathy dude. He was the star at the main events stable. And then, so I mean, I pitched the 8.4, and everybody who saw that saw what I did to him. And then everything but stop him. But they made it a draw. Then they switched it and was like, hey, we're going to switch it, you know. So we thinking they're going to recalculate it right. And it goes to split decision win for Adamic. We're like, wow. Then I fight Tyson Fury after that. And, you know.
Larry, pull up the video of Steve and Fury. Go ahead. My bad. I didn't mean to cut you off.
Oh no, that's cool.
So you that's actually the fight that made me a fan of USS. It was on NBC, right? Yeah,
NBC.
Yeah, okay. Now let me paint this picture for the viewers. Steve is a natural cruiserweight, and from cruiserweight, the next division is heavyweight. Steve at a disadvantage jumps up to heavyweight with guys that are well over 220.
Yeah,
big dudes, yeah. And one of his first fights at heavyweight was against a guy named Tyson Fury. I believe Fury's 6'9" or something like that.
Fury was 6'9", 270 at the time.
He's a giant. And Steve, you're what, like 6'2", 6'3"?
6'3". I weighed in at 210 for that, but I mean, I had just drunk a gallon of milk right before we weighed in, just so I can appear to be heavier. But I was 6', 207, you know. So
there was no cutting weight for you. You're actually trying to put on weight so that you're not getting muscled around with these naturally bigger fighters. So you'll see the size difference. I mean, it's ridiculous. So and Fury is a guy that, you know, the boxing world was trying to boost up and you know, hype up as the next big heavyweight. So anyway, Steve went in there at a disadvantage, fought a guy way bigger than him, fought a guy that, you know, a lot of judges and things like that might have been biased towards. Where was this fight at? Was it?
That was at the Garden.
Oh, okay, that's right. Okay,
it was at the Garden. So, you know, we get in there and you know, Fury basically thought he was just gonna bully me and muscle me around. He took me lightly, and second round I hit him with an overhand right that put him on his back.
I tell you what, I saw that and I jumped out my seat, man. I was hyped.
And then from then on, you know, I say that second round, third and fourth round is, you know, I hit him with some other big shots that kind of stunned him, buzzed him. But, you know, he started basically doing what big men should do, you know. And if the referee's allowing you, do it, you know. He was just leaning on me, laying on me, roughhousing me, stuff he should have got disqualified for. And, you know, the knockout, he knocked me out in the 6th with the illegal blow.
Now here's the big punch Steve's talking about.
Oh yeah,
punch
baby.
heard around the world. Anyone talks about this fight? Well, I thought that's what we were looking at. Okay, these are little highlights, I guess. Yeah, now you guys see the size difference, right?
Yeah, that guy was huge, man, massive.
There, you got the clip on the calendar. But anyway, so yeah, fight ended. But you know, being a boxing fan and watching that fight myself, you're right. You know, he was weighing on you, he was grabbing you, and a lot of people, if you don't know, that wears a fighter down. It takes away their energy. You know, imagine someone much bigger than you just on top of you constantly. You're expending energy just to keep them off you. And near the end, the punch that I remember him doing was like a rabbit punch, kind of hooking around and hitting you in your neck and your ear. Illegal blows.
It was illegal. I mean, it was a forearm. He basically put his forearm on my face and held me there and hit me. And I have a good lawyer, and Main Events, we basically had to force them to get behind us to protest that, and they finally did, and we went to the New York State Athletic Commission, and in their rules, it strictly said exactly what he did was illegal. So we like, oh, they're going to overturn it, and came back 2 weeks later, they didn't see nothing illegal, so that we're like, bull.
Of course not. So a fight that you look like you could have been winning. You kind of got gypped on that one, but I honestly think that fight really gave you a lot of exposure and built you a lot more fans as well, because like we talked about, Philly fighters and that heart and that grit, you showed it that night, going in there with a guy much bigger, a guy you were heavily favored against, a guy who had the size advantage and everything. And I mean, let's be real, he had to cheat to win. Now, I'm sure there's going to be some haters out there that are like, oh, whatever, but whatever. I know boxing, and I know what I saw, and you said it yourself, he's doing illegal stuff. But anyway, it happens. It's part of the game. I got over it, you know what I'm saying, and moved on. But the performance itself was good for me because people didn't think I was going to do any of that, so it's cool. It is what it is, And you put the heavyweight division on notice that, you can hang with the big heavyweights, because at that time he was one of the top heavyweights of the world, and you went in there and knocked him on his ass. I'm hoping Larry can pull that video up. But we'll move on. So you've had a couple more big heavyweight fights since then. One of them being Mansoor.
Now
that was another fight that had me loving some USS. That was a one hell of a war, big back and forth. A guy, a natural heavyweight. Tell me about that fight.
So with Mansoor, man, me and Mansoor kind of knew each other. We sparred together a few times. He helped me get my second world title back as a cruiserweight, and our promoters basically decided it'd be a great idea for us to fight, and we were totally against it, but it was like the only thing they had on the table. We both got kids, and
I saw your Facebook post the other day. You're talking about here. Let me see if I can find it, but go ahead, man.
It was one of my least liked fights because then the situation we were going through with my daughter, her and her heart disease, and the Philadelphia hospital telling us there's nothing else they could do for her. It was just an emotional time that every time I kind of really think about that fight, it takes me back emotionally also. So all those emotions, just make me, it's just not a good feeling for me. So, but I still got a job to do. Like I told my trainer, because they were like, oh man, let's call the fight off. I got this info about my daughter literally 2 weeks before the fight. So, they're like, let's call the fight off, let's do this. And I'm just like, man, I still got to take care of those kids. I got 3 kids to take care of, and I'm going to do my job. I'm here to win. I'm not here to just get a little check. And that check was not sufficient for that fight.
I so saying that. So you had to go in there, fight your friend, fight for less than you should have made. You had the personal issues going on at home.
Indeed.
But I tell you what, you guys both left it all in the ring that night. That was a great fight. You got dropped, right? And
twice.
Yeah. And if you guys don't know, Mansoor is a big guy, big muscular guy. I'm sure he outweighed you, right?
Yeah, he was I think he was like 220. I was about 205. And he cracked me, man. He's probably the biggest puncher I faced. I fought. That was the hardest punches I took. And he put me down. I got up though, man, weathered the storm, and was able to continue to box, and get that victory. So that made me national heavyweight champion, and that was awesome.
Yeah, you definitely got off the mat and did your thing, man, and well-deserved victory. I think that was one of my favorite fights of yours.
Thanks.
And another high-profile heavyweight fight you had was you and you call the milk dud, Antonio Tarver.
Oh yeah, Tarver. Yeah, that guy, man.
Now that was a big. There was a lot of drama behind that fight, and you want to go ahead and talk about that a little bit?
Oh yeah, because I was trying to fight Tarver when we were cruiserweights. He had a belt, I had a belt. It made sense that we unified two Americans instead of us going to Europe. He just defended his title in Australia. I just defended mine in Germany. And I'm like, dude, we were on Twitter. This is like probably what, 2009 or 2011. And we're going back and forth. And he basically said, you're not famous enough for me to fight because you don't have enough Twitter followers. I had at that time probably like 8,000, Yeah, he's one of them. So, yeah, so years later, I get with Al Heyman. Al puts that fight together. And, I fight the guy. We had a nice confrontational press talk and media conference talk. And, he kept telling me he's not the European guys I've been fighting. And I kept coming at him about his steroid use. And we fight. I threw 700 something punches. He threw 400 punches. I outworked them, I believe, and they scored the fight a draw. With him being such a big name in boxing, he got the benefit of the doubt, which, he snowballed guys. So, and we fought on his network. It was just, it was whatever, man. But, after the fight, he fails the drug test. He was using steroids. So they basically turned the fight into a no contest. And, it's just, he robbed the fans, He robbed the fans because I was hitting him with some of the shots I was hitting those guys in training with. And I'm like, wow, he's not moving. And it's okay. We keep working. But he robbed the fans of a good stoppage,
Yeah, he
cheated.
That was a good fight, too. A lot of back and forth. But like you said,
yeah,
it was proven he was cheating.
Yeah.
And a lot of these things help the fighters as far as being able to take punishment, being able to make weight.
Yeah.
Which isn't really a big issue in at the heavyweight division. But yet again, cards stacked against you. You got robbed. A lot of people had you winning that fight. But after that, I remember you going on a tear, and you were really advocating against cleaning up boxing. And you even mentioned him going in there on steroids is a threat to your life. Because,
no doubt.
Yeah, because you're in there trading blows. He could kill you, at advantage. And I really think I wish more would have came out of that. And I do hope one day they clean this sport up because you said yourself, that there's a lot of that going on, and we've been seeing that the past few years. A lot of people testing positive and things like that.
The thing is with boxing, what I found out, because I did pursue that person's lawsuit against him. And, I had a good lawyer, and he was like, listen, I went and spoke to him, and he was like, listen, the only way you can sue him, you can do a civil suit against another fighter, is if you basically took out of the ordinary damage. So I'm like, well, what does that mean? Because in fights, we get eyes cut, broken bones. He was basically like, you basically have to be put in a coma or dead, And so that really hit me.
Too, huh? As if you're brain dead.
Yeah. So it hit me then that the only way something's going to get done about the steroid use in boxing is when a fighter literally kills a fighter and he pops on the test. That's when something's going to get done. But other than that, they're not going to do anything because I believe guys above them, I believe the heads in boxing know who's using. They don't say anything. It's money. It generates money.
It's just like in baseball where they were kind of keeping it hush-hush because all these guys were hitting all these home runs and, breaking records and things like that.
Yeah, Yep.
It is what it is. I love boxing. It's my favorite sport, but it's definitely, there's no argument that it's one of the most corrupt sports out there.
No doubt, yeah.
And it's definitely not in the favor of the athlete.
No.
So I had mentioned earlier your conditioning. You said you pretty much stay in shape year round. I can see it right now, popping through the shirt. This is the Barbell Life. We're all about, health and fitness, lifting weights. you know, if Larry could pull up a picture, you got a great physique, man. Have you always been in good shape like that? And before you start boxing, were you hitting the gym, things like that?
Well, you know, before I started, before I went to the Navy, I was 145, probably 150 pounds. Joined the Navy, left there like 170 something, 180. You know, just built up a bit. And just that work ethic in the Navy helped build me. I was always we were always in shape, like running and playing. You know, when we played outside back then, you know, and had games of running and chasing each other. But
climbing trees and manhunt and all that.
Yeah, manhunt, those type of stuff. So that and basketball all the time. So I was in some good shape when I went to boot camp. But you know, after boot camp and boxing, it just took me to another level. In boxing, I remember one of the first times I sparred, the first few times I sparred, and I was dead tired. Like the first, second round, I was dead tired. And afterwards, I asked my trainer, I was like, yo, you know, what do I do to not get tired? And he was like, you running? You doing sprints? And I was like, no. And he gave me a program to run. And ever since then, I've been running, man, doing whatever it takes to be in shape. And I hate feeling out of shape, even when I don't have a fight. Like I've got a gym here in my garage now, and shoot, I hit that thing, man. You know, here and there. Even you know, I haven't fought in 6 months, 7 months. So, but I'm ready to rock ASAP.
And that's not typical in boxing. A lot of guys, especially big name fighters like yourself, a lot of these guys, you know, after the fight's over, they just start letting themselves go. They start drinking, partying, eating whatever. They get out of shape, and you know, once they sign that contract, they're like, all right, I got to get back in camp.
Yeah.
30, 40 pounds.
That's the difference between us. You know, when I'm with Brother Nazim, and our training camps are not about getting in shape. Our training camps are about the game plan, the mental aspect. So you have a lot of fighters who go to camp just to get in shape, and that's ridiculous.
Just to make that weight for the win, basically.
Yeah.
And that's another thing talked about Bernard Hopkins. He's the same way. He you know, he stays in shape year round, and I think that's part of his longevity. For y'all that don't know, Bernard Hopkins is 51 now. He's had two parts of his career. He had a dominating, you know, 10 years at middleweight, and then he had another dominating 10 years or so at light heavyweight in his 40s, early 50s. So, you know, I think I always tell people, if you take care of yourself, your body's going to give that back to you. And
it's going to reward you.
Yes. And I think that's the case with you. I see your fights, and, you know, your conditioning's on point. You always make weight, no problem. Now, do you ever lift weights, or is it mostly cardio? Because you have a muscle frame.
I know there's a lot of fighters who don't lift. They don't believe in lifting, or few of them. And I'm like, how can you not? You know, where our body's absorbing in punches, so those extra muscles will help absorb, and it will help give you more speed and sharpness. So yeah, I lift. I do a lot of pull-ups, a lot of push-ups, swim, sprints, rowing machine, stair climber. I've got a program that I do, and I do whatever it takes to be in shape, man. You know.
What's USS Cunningham benching?
You know what? I can throw the 245s up on each side about 8 times. I haven't maxed out. I never maxed out, because I always go to the gym by myself. Like when I'm lifting, I'm one of them guys. I don't like running with anybody. I just do my stuff by myself, you know. And
put your music on and just get in the zone, right?
Yeah. I'm always at the gym by myself. So I've never maxed. The last time I maxed out was in the Navy, man, and I was about 180 pounds then. So I know I can bench way more, but we'll see. I do want to max out though.
Well,
one day.
I'd like to see that sometime.
I'm gonna post it.
What's that?
I said I'm gonna post it on the gram. I'm gonna do it.
Hey, you do that. Tag me.
Yeah, right.
All right. So you said you haven't fought in a while. What do you have in store as far as your career goes?
You know, I just turned 40 this year. You know, people count me out. I got a call for a rematch from Marco Huck, who's a world champion now. So he wants to fight. What we're doing now is we're looking to get into the ring, get into the win column, and then go for another championship. My last fight, I made some mistakes and I lost that. Still was a good fight. I almost had him, but those knockdowns counted me out. So
that was Kohaku, right?
Yeah, a good fighter, good smart fighter.
The guy who knocked out the dude who's calling you out now.
Yeah. So we'll see, man. There's open doors. I'm with Heyman PBC, and there's a lot of options there. So early next year, hopefully January, February, no later than March, I'll be back in rocking.
Okay. Yeah, I look forward to seeing you fight again, man.
Yeah, no doubt.
Since we got a little time left, let's talk about your little girl. You mentioned before the Fury fight, some stuff was going on with Kennedy, your daughter.
Yeah.
And for those who don't know, now she was born with HLHS, which stands for
Hypoplastic Left Heart Syndrome. She was born with underdeveloped left side of her heart. So she spent a year of her life in the Children's Hospital in Philly. That whole heart disease needs 3 surgeries to fix, and she received the first 2 within 6 years. The last one she was supposed to get when she was about 9, 10. When she was 9, and this was literally 2 weeks before my Mansoor fight, they told my wife, who was at the hospital with her when I was training, there's nothing else we can do. Her situation's deteriorating. Take her home and make her comfortable. That's exactly what they said. So, we're like, well, what else to do? And they're like, so we're, heart transplant. And they're like, nope, she won't take that. So, that was a really somber, sad time. Got the fight. We went up there and talked with the doctors, told them we're going to get a second opinion regardless. And we went to Pittsburgh, where we live at now. That's why we live here. And the Pittsburgh Children's Hospital basically was like, we don't see the problem that Philadelphia Children's Hospital see. We're going to go ahead with the heart transplant. 2014, December 15th, my daughter got her heart transplant. And boom, she's been doing awesome for the past 2 years. We're about to come up on the 2nd anniversary. Finally getting our Make-A-Wish, because the Make-A-Wish fund that finally came through. So next week we're going to Disney World. She's getting her Make-A-Wish fund trip, and we're just going to enjoy her, man. Nice. So I mean, everything's been great, man. She's been fighting, and it's crazy now. She's really on a normal level now. She pisses her brothers off. They're always fighting and arguing, and she's crying over little stuff. And I'd be like, girl, shut up. You beat heart disease. Get out of here with that weak crap.
You got no excuses now.
Yeah, right. So that's how it is now for us.
I remember watching, while all that was going on, and I remember I don't know if I read it or heard it on one of your interviews, but you talked about how, you were fighting for her. You saw how she was fighting, and that kind of motivated you to push through and take on these challenges. And I think that was around the time you jumped up to heavyweight as well, right?
Yep. Yeah, that was my Nat Tuiva Senior fight when I fought him in Philly on NBC. He, another guy. He's 6'2.5", 269 pounds, wide Samoan guy, man. And me being 204, 203. But in that training camp, I do remember reflecting back on my daughter, because I'm like, wow, she's fighting her butt off. She's fighting hard to breathe straight. She's fighting hard to walk up steps. And when it got hard for me, I remember a few times thinking about that, and it motivated me. It helped me. So, we're believers in the scriptures, man, the Holy Scriptures. We follow the word as it says, and it says faith without works is dead on another level, and that means we got to put in our work. It also means what it means in the scriptures, but it means we got to put in our work and expect to get something. Seed time and harvest time. What you put in, you want to get out. You want to get a good harvest. You plant some good seeds. So it's in that gym pushing, man, and then but to see her fight and all that stuff she went through over the years, and we can write a book solely on her, and what we went through with her, and we will. But we're still, it's not rough right now. We're in a good area right now. She has no rejection in the past 2 years. Little minor issues, no overnight stays in the hospital. She was out of the hospital within 2 weeks. of the transplant. It's just like, you know, it was beautiful, man. So we are going to write this book, you know, or I'm going to shoot the iMovie video of it, something.
Let me know when you do that, man. We'll post it in our community and help you push it.
All right,
it's a great story and it's very inspirational.
Yeah.
But I look forward to when's she gonna drop this remix on that freestyle?
Oh man, yeah, I'm trying to get her, man. She wants to too, so I'm gonna get her and hook her up, boy. We're gonna get it.
I don't know what we're talking about, but Steve, he posted a video of Kennedy, and she was freestyling in the studio, and it was the funniest thing I ever seen, man. She was getting it.
she was trying, boy. I was like, okay, but yeah. Oh yeah.
Speaking of rapping, you do some rapping too, right?
Yeah, I do. You know, I do my little spitting here and there about, you know, about the scriptures and everything I'm learning and I'm going through in the scriptures, and I enjoy. I used to rap when I was a teenager before I went in the Navy, and then after I did gospel rap on a couple albums. I was featured on a couple guys' albums, but I never really wanted, you know, I just do it because I like it. I got my little YouTube channel and I put stuff out. But
now what's that YouTube channel? So
it's just Steve Cunningham. You see me holding it's me and my wife, and I got my belt on. It's Steve Cunningham, and I got my video. I got my little songs on there, and a little bit of my highlights from Call of Duty.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah, I've heard some of the songs, man. Everyone has a good message.
Yeah. Real, man. I really study, man. We study and we go into this word, and I mean, you know, those rappers, they rap about their life, drugs, girls, that's their life, you know. So I rap about mine, you know.
Much respect. Now you talk about some side things you do.
Oh yeah.
I've always grown up.
I got the comic book rolling.
I was just gonna say that.
Yeah, man. USS Comics, man. Hashtag Instagram, man. Hit that up. You see a lot of the pictures, and the page for the World comic book is USS Comics 76. That's on Instagram. So I'm just doing a comic book, turning me into a superhero, using a lot of my military experience, you know, military history and boxing history. The great thing about the comic book is I'm drawing it. And secondly, it's the fight scenes are going to be basically literal fight scenes that I fought with, you know, guys in boxing. So you'll be able to match the villain up to a certain fighter that I fought. Yeah, and I've turned some of the guys I've fought, you know, alike, and I've used pieces of them to help build my villains, and you'll be able to see who I use what on, you know. And I'm excited about that comic book, man. I've been putting in work. Let me see. Here's a pic right here.
We can't see your picture right now. All I see is your logo or whatever you call it, your avatar.
Yeah, I don't know what's going. Yeah, my Hangouts thing is gone.
But I think Larry can pull it up. It's on your YouTube channel.
Yeah.
There we go. Okay.
So this is one of the pics. That's I use this character as Menelaos Key. It's a Polish name because that's Adamek, who's Poland. I'm using some pieces from him. So,
okay.
You know, that's the USS Comics right there, and that's me fighting them. So
now, how long you been drawing? Because I've been drawing since I was a little kid, man, and I love it. So when I saw that you were an artist too, I was like, man, Steve's shit.
Yeah, man. I've been drawing since I was a kid. Art was my major in high school. So, but I, you know, my parents didn't go to my mom. I live with my mom, and she didn't go to college, so she couldn't tell me how to, you know, get ready for college. You know, you know. So my art major teacher was like, "Yo, do your portfolio, send it out," and you know, I ain't know what he's talking about, and it wasn't his responsibility to do anything more. So, I guess in April or March, all of my friends were getting their acceptance letters to the New York Art Institute, Philly. And I didn't get anything. And I'm like, what's up? And he's like, you didn't send anything out. You didn't do your portfolio. You didn't fill out this, you know, the loans and all of that stuff. And I'm like, wow. So I was like, what am I going to do? If I stay in Philly, I'm gonna, you know, be in trouble, you know, because I was into some street stuff at the time. And I just knew, it just hit me like I was going to end up dead or in jail. You know, I knew I had to get out of Philly. So the Navy recruiter showed up and that was it. I was off. I was like, I'm out of here.
The rest is history.
Yeah,
I respect that you still do your passion. You know, even though you're a 2-time world champion and you've already found success there, you've done well for yourself. You still, you know, go back to the table and you're drawing your comic and all that. You know, how can someone get a hold of this comic book when you're done with it?
Well, what we're going to do is I'm getting a website first, so I'm going to make it a web comic first. The first saga, the first chapters are going to be basically free, loaded up on the website. Okay. But then afterwards, I'm going to basically get a book form and still put it on the web page. But you know, we're going to have to charge a little something. Yeah. But I do want to see, you know, hopefully we get a lot of feedback. And I mean, I've got a lot of outlets that's going to help promote it and stuff. So, you know, I'm just excited, man, because it's like a baby that, you know, I've been growing up, you know, and it's almost ready to go into the world. So I can't wait.
I look forward to seeing that, man. From one artist to another, man. I like what you do, man. Good stuff.
And I've got other ideas for stories, man. Like my son who boxes, you know, I've got characters for him. I train the USS Fight Academy. That's my boys. So I've got characters for them. I want to spin that off to a kids cartoon. I mean, I got ideas, man. I'm running with it. So okay, we'll see.
All right, so we'll go ahead and wrap up, Steve. I know you're a busy man. So before we do that, though, you want to do any shout outs or throw any plugs out there?
Just you know, shout out to you guys, everybody who's listening in the armed forces. Appreciate your sacrifice, man. I know how hard it is to be away from your family when you don't want to be. We appreciate you, no doubt. And all the best, man. Happy holidays and stay safe.
Appreciate that, man. Appreciate that. Same goes to you. Thank you for your service, sir.
All right, man. Appreciate it.
I usually ask every guest before we wrap up, do you have any, what's a bit of advice you'd give to somebody, if you could give somebody just anything? Words of wisdom.
Ooh, man, I'll keep it real simple. No matter how many people go against you, when you're telling the truth, still tell it. If it's for real, if it's the truth, tell it. But you know, because people don't want to hear the truth. Hey, man, my thing is fading out. I'm out, man. I'll holler.
Thanks for coming, man. Take it easy, brother.
Yeah.
Salute. All right, Larry, you want to take it from here?
All right. Hey, as you guys know, Thermite's ready to release here. So definitely for the Black Friday here that we have, we're still doing the sale, and it'll be Black 30 to get 30% off. So check us out, get Thermite, and stay tuned in the group and keep following us as far as that goes. So stay tuned. We have a lot of things planned.
BarbellNutrition.com. Also, while you're at the website, if you're not on the Barbell Life newsletter, make sure you sign up for that. We'll be sending out special discounts, all information on anything BBL. So you find out about the shirts, about the meet and greets, things like that we plan on doing. So big shout out to USS Steve Cunningham. Thank you for being on the show. And thanks for everyone for tuning in. And we'll catch you guys next time.
All right. Have a good one.